The world watches in horror. Bombs fall on cities. Refugees flee their homes. It's a scene tragically familiar throughout human history. From ancient empires to modern proxy wars, human behavior remains consistent. Are we doomed to repeat the past? Or can understanding history break the cycle of violence? Join us as we delve into history to uncover the deep connections between past conflicts and today's challenges. The world is interconnected in ways unimaginable to previous generations. Globalization has created a complex web of interdependence, magnifying the consequences of conflict. The past lingers in the present, shaping our political landscapes, economic systems, and social structures. The rise and fall of empires, the clash of ideologies, and the struggle for power are recurring themes. Fear, greed, and the pursuit of dominance continue to drive nations to the brink of war. The global COVID-19 pandemic reminded us that we are all connected and that the health of one nation is linked to the health of all. For nearly half a century, the world watched as the United States and the Soviet Union engaged in a high-stakes game of geopolitical chess. The Cold War was a clash of ideologies, a battle for global dominance that played out on multiple fronts. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 marked the end of the Cold War and the triumph of democracy and capitalism over communism. Or so we thought. In recent years, new geopolitical tensions have emerged, resembling the Cold War era. The United States and Russia are once again locked in a struggle for influence, while China's rapid expansion has shifted the global balance of power. Understanding the lessons of the Cold War is essential to avoid repeating past mistakes. The battleground has expanded into the digital realm. Cyber warfare has emerged as a potent weapon, capable of disrupting critical infrastructure and undermining national security. The Internet, once hailed as a tool for democratization, has become a breeding ground for propaganda and misinformation. Economic sanctions have become a favored tool of coercion, impacting businesses and consumers far beyond the targeted nations. The battle for influence extends to the realm of ideas and values, with competing narratives shaping global discourse. Soft power, the ability to influence through cultural attraction, has become increasingly important in shaping global perceptions. Proxy wars, where major powers support different sides in a conflict without directly engaging, are another echo of the Cold War era. These conflicts often serve as a testing ground for new weapons and tactics, with devastating impacts on civilian populations. The Syrian civil war and the ongoing conflict in Ukraine highlight the complexities and human costs of modern proxy warfare. The rise of non-state actors, such as terrorist organizations, has further complicated the geopolitical landscape. The legacy of colonialism is a heavy burden carried by many nations in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. European powers carved up these continents, extracting vast wealth and resources. The arbitrary borders drawn by colonial powers often ignored existing ethnic and religious divisions, sowing the seeds of future conflicts. When these colonial empires crumbled, they left behind political instability, economic inequality, and social fragmentation. The wounds of colonialism run deep, shaping the political and economic realities of many developing countries today. Many former colonies are rich in natural resources, but this wealth has often proven to be a curse. The exploitation of these resources by foreign corporations and corrupt governments has fueled conflict, corruption, and environmental degradation. The profits from these industries often flow out of the country, benefiting a select few. The international community must address the root causes of the resource curse and support sustainable development. Many developing countries are burdened by massive debts owed to Western banks and governments. These debts have become a major obstacle to economic development, consuming significant portions of national budgets. Breaking the chains of debt requires a concerted effort from both developed and developing countries. Debt relief programs, fair trade policies, and increased investment in sustainable development are essential steps towards a more just global economic order. Neocolonialism refers to the ways in which powerful nations and corporations exert control over less developed countries. This can take many forms, from unfair trade agreements to the imposition of structural adjustment programs. The ongoing situation in Gaza highlights the modern face of neocolonialism, where geopolitical interests and economic pressures shape the lives of millions. The influence of Western media and culture can also be seen as a form of neocolonialism, shaping values and promoting consumerism. The fight against neocolonialism is a fight for self-determination, economic justice, and cultural diversity. Throughout history, pandemics have been a recurring nightmare, sweeping across continents and leaving behind a trail of death and disruption. From the Black Death to the Spanish flu, pandemics have shaped civilizations and exposed the fragility of human societies. The COVID-19 pandemic has served as a stark reminder of our vulnerability. The virus quickly spread across the globe, overwhelming healthcare systems and shutting down economies. As the world grapples with the ongoing pandemic, it is instructive to look back at past outbreaks to understand how societies have responded and what lessons we can learn. A century before COVID-19, the world faced another devastating pandemic, the Spanish flu. This deadly influenza virus infected an estimated 500 million people worldwide, killing an estimated 50 million to 100 million people. The similarities between the Spanish flu and COVID-19 are striking, with both viruses spreading rapidly and exposing societal inequalities. However, there are also important differences between the two pandemics. The world of 1918 was very different from the world of 2020, with less advanced medical science and no effective treatments or vaccines. The lessons learned from the Spanish flu can help us navigate the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic has revealed that many lessons from past outbreaks have not been heeded. Public health infrastructure remains inadequate, and international cooperation has often been lacking. The spread of misinformation and conspiracy theories has hindered efforts to contain the virus and promote vaccination. As we emerge from the pandemic, it is essential to strengthen public health systems, improve international cooperation, and address underlying inequalities. The COVID-19 pandemic will have a lasting impact on the world, shaping our economies, societies, and geopolitics for years to come. The economic fallout has been severe, with businesses closing and unemployment rates soaring. The pandemic has accelerated trends like remote work and e-commerce, likely to have a profound impact on our future. It has highlighted the importance of investing in social safety nets to ensure societies are more resilient to future shocks. The lessons learned from this experience will shape our world for decades to come. As we've journeyed from the trenches of World War I to the digital battlefields of cyber warfare, one thing is clear: the past is never truly past. It shapes our present, influences our decisions, and casts a long shadow over the future. The echoes of past conflicts, the scars of colonialism, and the specters of pandemics serve as stark reminders of the enduring power of history to shape the human story. But history is not destiny. We are not condemned to repeat the mistakes of our ancestors. Understanding the patterns of the past, the root causes of conflict, and the unintended consequences of our actions can empower us to make different choices, to forge a new path forward. The world today faces unprecedented challenges: climate change, global inequality, technological disruption, and the resurgence of nationalism, to name a few. These challenges are complex and interconnected, demanding innovative solutions and global cooperation on a scale rarely seen before. As we confront these challenges, it's tempting to succumb to fear, to retreat into our own tribes, and to repeat the mistakes that have led to so much suffering in the past. But history teaches us that such a path leads only to further division, conflict, and despair. The human story is not a simple tale of progress or decline. It is a tapestry woven from threads of hope and despair, of triumph and tragedy. We have the capacity for both great good and great evil. The choices we make today will determine which path we take, whether we succumb to the weight of history or rise to meet the challenges of our time. Breaking the cycle requires learning from the past, understanding the forces that shape our world, and working together for a just, equitable, and sustainable future. It demands challenging our biases and reaching out to those different from us, embracing empathy, compassion, and understanding, recognizing we are all part of a shared human family. History may repeat itself, but it doesn't have to define us. We have the power to write a new chapter. The future is ours to create. Let us choose wisely. History is not a dusty textbook. It's a living, breathing force that shapes our world. Understanding the past is not just about memorizing dates and names. It's about recognizing the patterns of human behavior, the consequences of our choices, and the potential we have to create a better future. What other historical parallels do you see shaping the world today? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going. Together, we can learn from the past, navigate the present, and build a future worthy of our shared humanity. Don't let history just happen. Be a part of shaping its next chapter.